the next game we're here to talk about is Michigan at Iowa. Michigan opens up a minus 10.5 point favorite. 9 point
They
favorite.
open
up,
9. It's at 10.
going to 10.5. Excuse me on that one. And going to Iowa, having to play in Iowa, never easy. That's just always been one of the maxims that I've had in sports betting, and going all the way back to my days in college, where Iowa just always seems to play better at Iowa. They always seem to beat one really good team.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Michigan this upcoming
It's
weekend.
not a good thing if you're a top 5 team going to Iowa,
Yeah.
just off the history.
But and that automatic betting the Iowa under that we have, well, I'll let T get into it a little bit, but we got a little adjustment on what we're thinking along those lines. I think Michigan wins, but based on what I saw last week where they only beat Maryland by 7, I just don't feel comfortable taking them in this spot, especially at Iowa. With that, T, how do you see this game, and what are you thinking for a bet?
So I made this line right around where it opened. So there's no play on the spread for me. As far as the total, it opened 41.5. It's been bet up to 42. That's off of Michigan being able to score points. That has very little to do with Iowa, who, yeah, you mentioned it, beat us last week on the under because they scored 2 defensive touchdowns. So I'm not going to bet the under on the game, strictly because with the speed and athleticism that Michigan has, it would not surprise me if they're able to put up a few points on Iowa.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to touch the game's under. I am, however, going to be betting the team total potentially, depending on where it opens up at, because at least when we're recording this, team totals aren't available yet. With a 10.5 spread and total right around 41.5, 42, the books are implying a final score of about 26 to 15.5 or so. So when it comes time for the team total to be released, it wouldn't surprise me if they'd open the Iowa at 14.5 with their team total. It might be 15.5, to be honest. Either way, if it's over 2 touchdowns, I'm going to take Iowa team total under.
Yep.
When that gets released, that's kind of how I'm looking at that. That way, just in case, if Michigan does score and the game goes over, I don't get beat. But because they have that ability, and I really like JJ at quarterback.
Yep.
And then this Iowa team, they're good when you make it into a phone booth and within the tackles, and Michigan isn't necessarily going to do that.
No.
And I don't think Iowa's offense is going to be able to do anything against the Michigan defense.
I agree.
And we'll see what Corum can do this week in an encore performance, because he had a heck of a game.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of what I'm thinking is that team total.
Yeah, I agree. I think that team total is the safe play. So with that, the bet, as soon as that line comes out, and look for it, the Iowa team total, look for that where it's going to drop at, but we're going to take the under, especially if it's over 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So with that, Iowa team total under.